Good evening. It's good to be with you again, isn't it, Ronnie?
Isn't it? Isn't it? On the show tonight, we've got extracts from 3 plays, Fanny by Gaslight, a new play set on the top story of a fizzy lemonade factory called Gassy by Fanlight, and a play about an old lady who was rescued from a lighthouse after she sent an SOS by torch called Granny by Flashlight.
And we'll be asking the cast of O Calcutta to change roles as they all know each other's parts backwards.
But first, the news. A lorry load of custard today collided with a goods train carrying cakes and wine. British Rail have asked us to announce that trains will be late, but only a trifle.
British scientists made history this week in the field of interbreeding when they crossed a skunk with a fairy and got a whiff and poof.
The American president announced today that the US space program is so short of funds that in future all astronauts who go to the moon will have to pay their own fare.
And a man is recovering in Bradford tonight after a 20-foot girder fell from a building. It was fantastically lucky, he said. The girder missed my left shoulder by only 3 inches. It hit him on the head.
And reports that doctors are widening the range they specialise in were confirmed today by Dr. Sidney Smith, an ear, nose, throat, dandruff and belly button specialist.
And two doctors who examined the ears of one of Britain's leading politicians today are concerned about what they saw. They saw each other.
A Lincoln man has beaten the world record for standing on his head. He said afterwards it was easy. I could have done it standing on my feet. And now it's time for a sketch. We should warn you that this sketch will contain scenes that are not suitable for Mexican hairdressers who don't speak a word of English.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'd like an eagle.
What sort of eagle?
Well, one that flies, you know.
Oh, yes, I know the sort. They're no good for roasting, you know. They're a bit stringy.
I don't want to roast it.
Ah, good. I can tell you're a bit of a gourmet. You see, if you want to cook them best, chop them up. Chop them up, soak them in a little bit of stock, add the red wine, a couple of bay leaves, and your dog will love the talons.
I don't want an eagle to eat.
Oh, good, very good. For your wife to eat, is it?
I'm not married.
I didn't think you were married when I heard you were doing all your own cooking. It's not much fun, you know, being in charge of a butcher shop.
This is a pet shop.
Yes, I know. What's the difference? Butchers sell animals dead, we sell them alive. Do you fancy a nice penguin sandwich?
Not at the moment, thank you, no.
Plenty of French mustard to take away the nasty fishy taste?
Look, what about my eagle?
You've got an eagle, have you? Oh, I'll give you a good price for that.
I haven't got an eagle. I want an eagle.
Now, if you want to eat it here, take it with you.
I want to take it with me.
You've got friends coming around for dinner, have you?
Yes, I've got lots of friends all coming round for dinner, all ravenous for a nice piece of eagle, yes.
Right, here we are. There we are. There you are.
That's not an eagle.
That's Ted.
No,
Ted the eagle.
That's a dormouse.
Where? Don't let Ted see it, for goodness sake.
In the box.
In the box with Ted, the dormouse? Goodness me, you'll have it in no time. Goodness me, he's eaten them all up, not a sin you left. Would you believe that? Oh, they're wicked, these eagles, you know. Don't let them be near your fingers. Whatever you do, you'll have them.
Listen, this dormouse...
Ted the eagle.
All right, Ted the eagle...
Yes.
...is not an eagle, he's a dormouse.
It's a baby eagle.
No, I'm sorry, I must insist. He's not any sort of eagle.
Well, I must be honest with you. Make no bones about it. Eagles are hard to come by, and they're a bit expensive, you know. What about that?
That's an egg.
I see you know what you're talking about. This is a do-it-yourself eagle kit. Cut out the middleman.
And what am I supposed to do with that?
Well, wait a minute. It comes with a set. There's a map of the mountains of Scotland, some climbing boots, and a nice woolly hat. See?
I'm afraid of heights.
Well, so are eagles. Why do you think they're all hiding under my counter here?
How would I hatch that out?
Well, you sit on it, you see. But you must be very careful. I'll just put these away because I don't like them lying about. You must sit in it. You must be very careful not to break it, you see. The slightest sound of a crack, jump off. Because small as they are, they haven't half got sharp beaks.
How long would I have to sit on that?
3 months.
No, I foresee certain difficulties. I'm afraid I haven't got the time to spare in my line of work.
Oh, yes? What is your line of work?
I'm a U-boat commander.
I see. Could I interest you in a nice little giraffe, then? You know, just to... He'd pop his head above the water for you, have a little look around. Save you going to the expense of a periscope.
No, I've had second thoughts.
Second thoughts?
I'll take the eagle.
The eagle, right. There we are. Now, what size boots do you take?
No, I don't want the egg. I want the little furry eagle with the tail and the eyes.
Ted the eagle.
Ted the little furry eagle, yes.
He's lovely. Ted the eagle, yes. Now, do be careful. Now, watch you. That'll be £5 in all, by the way.
£5 in all?
Right. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And do be very careful with them because there's an awful lot of wolf in them.
I'll wear little woolly gloves.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, madam.
How are you, young man?
I'm very well. Can I interest you in a nice gorilla?
No. Have you any canaries?
No canaries, madam. Only gorillas. What about Ted the gorilla? He's a lovely little fellow. Have a look at him in there. Ted the gorilla.
The summer smiles, the summer knows, and unashamed she sheds her clothes. The summer smooths the restless sky, and lovingly she warms the sand on which you lie. The summer knows, the summer's wise. She sees the doubts within your eyes, and so she takes her summertime, tells the moon to wait and the sun to linger, twists the world round her summer finger, lets you feel the wonder of it all. The summer knows, the summer's wise. She sees the doubts within your eyes, and so she takes her summertime, tells the moon to wait and the sun to linger, twists the world round her summer finger, lets you feel the wonder of it all. And if you've learned your lesson well, there's nothing more for her to tell. One last caress, it's time to dress for fall.
Good evening. I want to speak to you tonight about men and women, and how they, if they. I'm from the Government Advisory Service on Thingamy, and we believe it would be much better if people could be perfectly frank about, you'll find yourself becoming much happier in every way if only you can be more outspoken about being more outspoken about, you see, for instance, everyone should be able to talk absolutely freely about 3 months ago, I was asked to come here and talk to you about a flu prevented me then, but here I am now. Good, that wasn't too embarrassing, was it? Now, here is a diagram of your, good God. As you can see, the Birmingham one-way system is very complicated and not a good place for a bit of what have you. And what have you, that is the question. People, as some probably know, are of two kinds. Which kind are you? To help us, here is a nude man and a nude woman, after they've put their clothes back on. Now, to tell them apart, you just take off, you just take off Fife Robertson. I'm standing here in the middle of, you see, if it's a good takeoff, it's a man or it's a woman who sounds like Fife Robertson. Now, if you look down your front, you will see a thing which we call the floor. This is not where you do the thing you don't do on the floor, unless, of course, you do it on the floor, in which case you're probably a member of a splinter group. Well, there it is, or isn't, and that's what tells you, and the way to tell men and women apart, or indeed together, is that they both have two. They both have two ears. But of course, it doesn't end there. I mean, there's really no point in being embarrassed about mentioning certain parts of the body. Not only the ears, but, of course, our old friend, the nose. I mean, what's embarrassing about the old hooter? Nothing. Keep your nose to the ground and you'll smell the floor. Which, as I said, is not where you do what you do, when you do what you do, if you do. And good luck to you. More power to your elbow. Well, not exactly your elbow. So let us be completely frank, or George, or Harriet, according to how you feel, and let us answer the question, where do babies come from? Well, some of them come from Luton. Not all of them, but some of them. Now, if it's embarrassed you to listen to what I've been speaking about so outspokenly, speak out, or forever hold your peace. That's spelled P-E-A-C-E. And here to help explain what I mean, I have a hairbrush and a jam jar. I put the hairbrush into the jam jar. What happens? Well, I can't brush my hair until I get the brush out of the jar. Splendid. I hope that clears it up. I know I do. I know it, and it does for me, and so say all of us. And remember, don't be shy about women's. Don't be shy about women's coconuts. Don't be coconut shy. Or guess the way to the pig. Go quite openly to Luton, find a floor, waggle your 2 ears, get out your hairbrush, and use the Birmingham one-way system. And good luck to you. Good night.
The latest victims done to death in the continuing gory story of Brimston Grange were none other than young Billy Brimston, who had been married for only a fortnight, what the Sunday papers would describe as a 2-week bridegroom, and Otto Van Dancer, oily German, crack shot, and hitherto chief suspect in this bizarre affair. Pike, the rascally butler, was for once not in evidence. Piggy Malone, second-rate private eye and inveterate glutton, and his more fastidious but equally pathetic assistant, Charlie Farley, had witnessed the whole affair, however, and spent a long time at police headquarters, helping the police with their inquiries.
Thank you. Oh, could we have our slacks back, please? My mum keeps it for the onions.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
No, not you, Mrs. Parsons. We're not at your house yet. Oh, all right.
Come on, let's go in.
Wait a minute, Chief. You realize there's only Miss Blanche left. And Pike the butler.
You mean...
Exactly.
What?
What?
What do you mean?
How do you mean?
Well, you said exactly.
Yes, I meant exactly what you were going to say.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, well, I was going to say that the murderer must be Pike the butler.
Or Blanche.
Exactly.
Anyway, I suggest we treat them both with the utmost caution. Come on. What the devil are you doing here?
Oh, we're rehearsing for the musical evening tonight.
Musical evening? What musical evening?
Oh, Miss Blanche always has a musical evening on the first Thursday in the month. She loves anything musical.
Oh, does she indeed? I'll show her my cigarette box.
Ah, gentlemen, you're back.
Is it true, madam, that you're holding a musical soiree here this evening?
Yes, but never mind that now. Come to my bedroom. I've got something to show you that'll make you go hot and cold.
I am out to get you. I will kill you like I killed all the others. You will die a horrible death, I promise you. Very best wishes, Anonymous. Do you know this man?
Can only be from Pike. He's the only one left.
And you yourself, of course, madam.
But I wouldn't threaten my own life.
Of course not. Stands to reason, Chief. I mean, goodness me, if she continued to ignore these letters, she'd be forced to kill herself.
Exactly. She could commit suicide and make it look like murder. This would incriminate Pike, and she'd get away scot-free. True. Right. Anyone else got any ideas?
Where is Pike?
I haven't seen him all day. You don't think he's lurking somewhere, do you?
Well, wherever he is, and whatever he's doing, Miss Blanche, one thing is certain. From now on, neither of us should leave you aside for a moment. Ever.
Well, what do we all do today? Any idea?
Well, could go to the pictures, couldn't we?
Oh, yes. What's on the local? Anybody know?
Yes, that, Hitchcock picture, you know, Psycho.
The two detectives worked tirelessly to safeguard the life of the splendidly proportioned Blanche. And it was here that Charlie Farley, failed undergraduate, was to shine, bringing his keen mind to bear on the problem of a foolproof warning system. Malone was content merely to look in occasionally and receive a progress report.
Well, that works all right, Chief.
This is very good. But supposing he comes in through the window.
Ah.
Exactly. String, would you? That's more like it.
Yes. Now, how are you going to get out?
Oh, well, I'll go out that door. Come in, Ellen. But supposing the murderer comes in through that door over there.
Well, that's that door covered. Everything should be sort of just set now. Go out and try it, Chief.
No, no. You go out and try it.
Go. Suppose this is simpler.
Yeah. Mind you, it means we've got to sit up all night.
Oh, I don't mind. I'd do anything to protect Miss Blanche. Where is she, by the way?
She's in the, well, last time I saw she... Poor Bennett. Where's Miss Blanche, my good man?
I'm not sure, sir.
Search for her now. Her life's been threatened.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, Chief.
What?
That was Pike.
Come on after it.
Disappeared. I suggest we search for Miss Blanche, Chief. We must get to her before he does.
It was 3 hours later when they finally found her.
Hello, boys.
Oh, Miss Blanche, I'm so glad we found you. I've been so worried. When I saw your legs lying in the grass, I didn't know where to put myself.
Naughty boy.
I don't want to alarm you, madam, but Pike is back.
I know, I've seen him. I think he's quite harmless.
You may do. I'd still like to have a word with him.
Come on, let's all go and look for him.
Where do you suggest we look?
Well, where do you expect the butler to be? I should think probably hanging around the kitchen.
I suggest you get him in here at once.
Very well. I'll ring for him.
So the butler didn't do it after all. And if he didn't, then who was the mysterious killer who lurked unseen in the dim corridors of Brimston Grange? Piggy Malone and Charlie Farley had already agreed to sleep in Blanche's bedroom to protect her. Or was it to protect each other? One thing was certain. There would be very little sleep for anyone that night.
You took me up to heaven when you took me in your arms. I was dazzled by your kisses, blinded by your charms. I was lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. Good and lost in a fool's paradise. When you told me that you loved me, I gave my heart to you. And I wondered if there could be any truth in love so new. I was lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. Good and lost in a fool's paradise. The whole world was my kingdom, and your love was a gem in my crown. Then I saw you glance at a new romance, and my love came tumbling down. Though you treat me kind of foolish, and may never let me know that you think I'm being foolish, because I love you so, I still get lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. Lost with you in a fool's paradise. I still get lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. Good and lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. I still get lost in a fool's paradise. Fool's paradise. Lost with you in a fool's paradise.
Good evening. Listen to this, Murray. Listen to this. Mr. Corbett, dear sir, I'm getting tired of hearing about your new house, which you bought with money stained with the sweat and tears of the workers. You're a capitalist and a lackey of the imperialist ruling classes. Major General Sir Gropley bus ticket, KCB. Graft and Towers in the Athenaeum. Dear. Well, that's the way I treat those sort of letters. Especially if nobody laughs. And I don't intend to comment any further, except to say that, believe it or not, I have known what it is to be short. For instance, how many of you... Don't answer now until you've heard the question. Let me put it another way. Despite what you might have heard, I do come from a very, very poor family. My father was 27 years down the mine, and his dinner was still in the oven. And my wife came from a very poor family as well. Her father was a professional carol singer. And when we got married, even her wedding dress was army surplus. Now, the wedding reception itself was quite small, quite a small affair. Half a pound of fruitcake and a bottle of Tizer between five of us. And two of them were great crashes. How the memories come flooding back, I hope. I remember it distinctly, I do remember, because we couldn't afford the church organ, so we brought our own. You know, the music wasn't bad, but the monkey was a bit of a nuisance. Setting a bad example to the choir. Now, then there was this terrible mix-up over my wife's flowers from the florist, and she finally walked down the aisle with a floral dartboard made of carnations, which read, "Goodbye, Sid, from the lads at the Rose and Crown." Unfortunately, her dear mother could not be there because she was a deserter from the WVS. She was picked up 2 years later and shot trying to escape. That's not actually really true, but if I told you the truth, you'd never believe me. No. And strangely enough, my wife was in show business at the time. You know, she was the girl half of she was the girl half of a very bad knife-throwing act, which explains why she's a little bit ragged around the edges. But I'll say no more about that because, you know, it is depressing me. It's not doing you a lot of good, actually. I could go on for hours, really, about the hard times. I could tell you about how we lived in a boarding house and how we were so hard up that on Sunday mornings the landlord used to let us go down and dip our bread in his egg. But I won't. My goodness, how my wife has changed, by Jove. Now, we went on a luxury cruise last year. It's rather hard to say luxury cruise. We went on a luxury cruise without actually doing that, you know. If you go luxury cruise, it's really quite easy. But if you go luxury cruise, anyway, we went on a luxury cruise last year. I think I'll talk like that all the time. We went... Shut that door. We went on a luxury cruise last year, and the first day out, the purser, a big, handsome fellow, said, "Mrs. Corbett?" No, he didn't. He said, "Anne, darling, I knew there was something I meant to speak to her about." He said, I put you at the captain's table for dinner, and she said, "I'm sorry, but at these prices, I'm not eating with the crew." Which reminds me of a rather amusing incident that happened to me on a train a few years ago. I was en route for... That's one of these other words. I was en route. I was en route for a cruise. Look at the muck in this place. I was en route for Portsmouth to take part in rather a cheap pantomime, Goldilocks and the Two Bears. Or it might have been Robin Hood and his Merry Man. It doesn't matter. It mattered then, but it doesn't matter now. So I got into this compartment with 3 or 4 sailors and a bishop. So we're going along, and I'm just sitting there, and the sailors are trying on one another's hats and generally having a good time. One of the sailors, a big petty officer, was reading the newspaper. You see, now he leaned across and touched the bishop on the knee. We had a hell of a job getting him down off the luggage rack, as a matter of fact. Anyway, we had all settled down, you see, and he said to the bishop, "What I was going to ask your grace is, what is gout?" And the bishop said, I'm glad you asked me that. Now, I don't know why he said that, but he did. He said, "I'm glad you asked me that." He said, "My good man, gout is a complaint that you get from drinking too much, smoking too much, and going out with Portsmouth ladies like Lamppost Lil and Hospital Hattie. That is the cause of the gout." He said, "Why do you ask?" And the sailor said, "Well, it says here that the Archbishop of Canterbury's got it."
Good evening. Tonight, we're going to look at Alex Stovner's amazing spheroids, now on loan to the British Museum. We'll be talking to a man who has the largest collection of plimsolls in Great Britain. But first, Queen Victoria. There have been many plays written about her, and in fact, a new musical is at this moment in preparation. The first stage representation of Her Majesty was, however, in the Music Hall in 1907, performed by a well-known double act of the time known as Lescombe and Daft. They received 3 years in Pentonville for insulting the Queen's person. As Lescombe would have said if he'd been alive today, "Get out of that." We offer you now that same sketch as it was performed, absolutely verbatim. Only the words have been changed. We present Change Here for Victoria.
Miss Florence Nightingale and Mr. Oscar Wilde.
I was talking to Florence just now, and I said, "Why don't you get married?" And she said, "I'm waiting for my ship to come in." And I said, "You've been waiting so long, your jet is collapsed."
We are not amused.
Silly Queen.
Where is my faithful retainer, John Brine, the Queen's trusted Gilly? Gilly, Gilly! Thank you very much. And now we'd like to do Anne and Eagle. It's about time somebody did. My dear Mr. Holmes, are you enjoying the picnic?
Indeed, yes, Your Majesty. Tell me, did you this morning go to Spitalfield Market, walk through a patch of damp clay, and lean against the red brick wall at 11:30 precisely?
No.
Oh, well, just a shot in the dark. By the way, Your Majesty, I was asked to give you this message.
Oh, thank you very much, dear Sherlock. Dear Your Majesty, hoots, I've been a war, but very, very soon I shall be returning the new to the old Barton Ben.
Just a wee duck and Doris, just a wee in that song, just a wee duck and Doris, before you gang on war.
P.S. That's probably me now. Leave me, everyone. We wish to be alone.
Your Majesty, are you alone?
Yes, John, we are in here.
I thought you said you were alone.
Oh, I am. I was using the royal we.
Oh, then I'll wait till you're finished.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present 5 foot of fun and a sporran, the lovely John Brown.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Tonight I was going to give you a little exhibition of some Highland dancing, but I washed my kilt last night and I can't do a fling with it. Oh dear, how do you like the kilt, Mrs. BBC tartan. Small checks. Well, I don't know. Oh, it's so cold today, isn't it? It's far too cold for a picnic, so it is. It's far too cold for a picnic. It's far too cold. Cold enough to freeze the brass buttons off a flunky, so it is. I don't know where the wind's coming from, but I can well where it's going. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, to have delayed you, but I was dashing here on my penny farthing and I got caught by the peelers.
Oh, how painful.
Tell me, what has been happening while I've been away?
Oh, quite a lot, dear John, quite a lot. Dear Charles Dickens gave us a preview of his Little Dorrit.
Oh, really? He sent me a copy of Oliver yesterday.
Oh, twist.
He must have been when he wrote that.
Oh, and I had a very sad letter from dear Dr. Livingston. Apparently he's been bitten by the tsetse.
Oh, where?
On the footsie wootsy. But my dear John, what have you, dear?
Well, I have been very fortunate. I was one of the beaters at Lady Barragray's shooting party.
Oh, yeah.
We got 23 pheasants, 14 grouse, and 29 partridge.
Ah, quite a bag.
Oh, you know her, do you?
Oh, dear Disraeli. Hello, dear.
Your Majesty, the Russians have invaded Constantinople already yet. And there's wholesale slaughter.
Wholesale slaughter?
Yes, and I ordered retail. And there's trouble in the canal.
Oh, but that's nothing.
Nothing, she says. If you knew Suez like I know Suez. Oh, what a mess.
Great crested tit.
Why did you say that, dear?
Well, I haven't said a dicky bird for 5 minutes. I'm going to warn you, dear, I shall have to be off soon because I'm going to France on business. There's a fast packet in the harbour.
Oh, let her wait. There's something very important I have to say to you, John, as my trusted Gilly. Something very important transpired yesterday, my dear. I think I can say that I'm still in the first flush of womanhood.
If that's your first flush, dear, there's something wrong with your plumbing. No, you know I adore you. I adore the hoorie of your skinkle and the wee sleek it drammy too. And I apologise.
Apologise? Why?
Well, I might have said something dirty. Oh, my English rose, be mine before the green fly gets you. Be mine, my proud beauty.
I'm not proud.
No, you're no beauty either. Will you marry me, my dear?
I cannot marry you. You're a commoner.
I'll have you know I'm in Burke's Peerage.
What has a bookmark? Oh, we're in condition tonight. That's the second offer we've had in 2 days, you know. Only yesterday, dear General Gordon made us a proposal. He was hardly in the room. No wonder they call him Flash Gordon.
Well, who's it to be, him or me?
I'm afraid, dear John, it can be neither of you. You see, England needs me. There is so much to do, and so little time. I am but the servant of my people, and it will always be so. It is my privilege, my duty, and my destiny. And so, you see, dear Johnny, our marriage can never be. Oh, I don't know, though. Dear Albert wouldn't mind, would you, dear?
Now, feed us, eh?
Oh, there he is. Poor dear, ever since the Crystal Palace, he's been making an exhibition of himself, you know. Now I'd like to sing the song that made me famous.
Recorded on HMV.
Yes, Her Majesty's voice entitled, Turn Your Lamp Down, Florence. It's getting on me wick. Thank you. John Brown's body is the one that I adore. He sweeps me off my feet, although he's only 5'4". His legs are strong and hairy, and they reach right to the floor. How I love my little John.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Victoria is going to woo ya. You really got to come into ya. Hold your hat on little John.
Victoria, Victoria, you're all the world to me. I really must see more of you.
There's plenty there to see.
You're the finest range of mountains from the Trossachs to Dundee. How she loves her little John.
When we dally with Disraeli, we are really not amused. But my Johnny's whimsicalities just cannot be refused. Do you want to dance the hornpipe?
Do I want to be excused? How she loves her little John.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Thank you. Well, that's all for this week. Next week, we shall be talking to Fanny Craddock, who announced this evening that she is to join Women's Lib. When she was asked if this would mean she would be burning her bra, she said, "No, darling, I'll saute it with onions and a little white wine."
Now, finally, some late news items. It is 10 years exactly since the president of Caramba, Senor Carioca, had his unfortunate encounter with the steamroller. In the Caramban capital today, a portrait of the president was unveiled. The painting is life-size, 38 foot long and 2 inches wide.
Short-sighted Lady Myopia Fotheringay opened the new haberdashery centre at Slough today by cutting a ceremonial ribbon. As she did so, a large crowd cheered and her knickers fell down.
And finally, in Covent Garden today, Mr. Dudley Arkwright ate 622 radishes in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Unfortunately, this doesn't count as a world record, as he had a following win.
And now it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.